I got in some questions, so it's time I show you guys how I produced Rain on the Prettiest Days.
Oh, I still feel alive.
The very first thing I did was add this piano. Free plugin called Labs. Right after that was adding the bass. Just following the chords. I wanted to add some more layers to it. We got this kinda pad-ish string. Not sure what it is. Almost following it too. Then I recorded some small piano chops. We hear them in the beginning, also throughout the track. Mostly in the chorus. I felt like we needed some more melodies. I added in a glockenspiel. You can hear it here and there throughout the track, just filling in the spots. By now I was thinking like, this is a pretty boring beat, so how are we gonna spice things up? I came up with this kinda, I don't know, choppy start to the chorus, and I want to make them feel really big. So I added this string part. Basically playing the same chords in a lot of different ways. On that string part we have a violin, we have a cello, and we have a bass. And that is everything for the melodic part, so let's move into the drums.
Oh, I thought I survived.
So the very first drum sound we actually use are these type of impacts. I layered that with a kick. We have a shaker. I don't remember if it was me or Splice. We have to add the snare, of course. Just keeping the kinda the flow, the vibe of it. On top of that, then we added a normal hi-hat, kinda accentuate the rhythm. Risers, stuff like this. Crash. Just kinda sitting there in the background. The arrangement, it is what makes it like what it is, especially the hits here. Oh shit, I forgot to tell you that. Yeah, for the last part I used LFO on the master to give it like some spice. And that is basically everything with the vocals on.
Oh, I still feel alive. Been through it all, but that shit really never did matter. I'm taking it worse by the day when your love doesn't. Oh, I thought I survived.
So I've been asked a lot of times, how do I make my vocals?
Oh, I still feel alive. Oh, I still feel alive.
First, on my chain, we have an auto-tune. Basically pitches the vocal, kind of fixes your singing. Little EQ, removing some of the low end that we don't want, boosting the top end. Next up, compression.
Oh, I
So this vocal was very uneven, so I took this compressor and made it just take off the peaks. After that I went in with another EQ. This one is the SSL channel. It takes some time getting used to because you don't have any visuals on this EQ. After that I added a reverb straight on the vocal. It's 6% only. A lot of people say never use a reverb straight on the vocal. Fuck that. If your vocal sits on top of the melody or kind of doesn't feel like it fits in somehow, you can use the reverb to kind of blend it in better. After that we have another compression. This is basically meant to just kind of shape the whole vocal and kind of glue the beat and the vocal together. I like to use a last EQ to kind of reshape and think, okay, what is needed now? What's the last step for me to make this vocal really stand out? And lastly, we of course need a de-esser. Basically just take off all the sh, tss, all those sharp sounds, and all together we have this.
Oh, I still feel alive. Been through it all, but that shit really never did matter. I'm taking it worse by the day when your love doesn't. Oh, I thought I survived.
Next step, the buses. And we have a lot of them. This, number 26, is highlighted right now. That is the vocal. You see all these green lines are the buses. So first up, we have a delay bus. Delay, reverb, and a limiter on that. After that, we have a reverb bus.
Oh, I
With those two, sounds like that. Another reverb bus with a different reverb.
Oh, I
Not too much though, it's very small amounts here. After that, I added a chorus effect on a bus and a little plugin called the D-doubler. I did this because I wanted the vocal to feel a bit bigger. Since the vocal was very loud in some parts and small in some, the mixing kind of made it feel thin in some type of way. So I added these to counter that. Also my secret sauce here. You shouldn't always use it, I come to realize, but take a bus, you throw on this bad boy right here. Free plugin, wider, sidechain this to the vocal. You can make a really big vocal without even trying. And all together, we have this.
Oh, I still feel alive. Been through it all, but that shit really never did matter. I'm taking it worse by the day when your love doesn't. Oh,
you guys have been asking, and I shall receive. Wait. If you ask, you shall receive. So here is how I master my tracks. So starting off, I had to give credit where credit is due. This is from a guy on YouTube called FL Studio Tips. Normal EQ. Cutting off the very, very low end and the very, very high end. You can add another EQ, kind of boosting a small amount, but I would say like no more than for like 2 decibels. Third step, this is given out for free by those guys at FL Studio Tips, but it's like a side mid EQ. Remove some of the low end and the sides to clear up the image a bit, depending on the song, of course. Now here we come to the meat and bones of this whole thing. Maximus. I know it's a scary ass plugin, so what I do with the Maximus, multi-band compression. Pull this down and make sure that after you compressed, gain it up a bit. See where the top is? Okay, this is at minus 3.5. So you might want to do it like 2.8 on the post gain. Then you do that for all of these. What is it doing? How much should I compress? Don't think about it too much. Compression is better than no compression. Try to use yours. Try to learn how to hear it. If you have a very loud kick, for example, just focus on bringing that down a bit to make it more even. You can do some other fun stuff, but I'm not gonna go into that right now. You go into master part. And this is the part where you want to maximize the volume without clipping. You see this threshold knob right here? I have it set to 1%. Then you bring down the ceiling to minus 1 dB. And then basically all you're gonna do is pull up the post gain, the blue knob, until you can hear it clipping. And after you hear that, you're gonna bring it down so you cannot hear the clipping anymore. Then you have the maximized volume. And that is how I master my tracks. But as always guys, have a great day and a goodbye.